imagine being a teenager again and having a crush on somebody and being so nervous around them that you would be willing to do almost anything to get them to like you. Well, today's teenagers can do almost anything to get their crush to like them, and that includes sexting, which is sending sexually explicit images or texts via their cell phone. So today I'm going to show you about what sexting is, but more importantly how to prevent it or how to do damage control if they've already participated in it. Now, sexting is easily accessible to any teenager with a camera phone, so chances are every one of you knows at least one teenager that is vulnerable to sexting. And although I do not have teenagers myself, I'm a mother-to-be and I'm becoming increasingly aware of the problems and dangers that kids these days have to deal with. So first I'm going to talk to you about the accessibility of sexting for teenagers, then the consequences that can sometimes be severe that they have to deal with if they do sext, as well as ways to prevent it and do damage control. So first, let's take a look at the accessibility that they have to sexting. Now, 80% of teenagers have cell phones, according to CTIA and Harris Interactive. Now, this is a survey that they did on September 15th of 2008. Not only did they find that 4 out of 5 teens have cell phones, but they also believe that their cell phones are indispensable to their social lives just as much as having cool clothes. So they want to have the high-tech gadgets, and that includes camera phones. And if they have a camera phone, not only are they going to send pictures, they can also receive pictures whether they want to or not. According to an online survey done by TRU, which is Teenager Research Unlimited, this was an online survey they did from September 25th, 2008 to October 3rd, 2008 that included 653 teens. In this survey, they found that 20% of teenagers have admitted to sending sexually explicit messages, picture messages, and 39% of them have sent sexually explicit text messages, whereas 48% of them admit to having received these types of images and texts, which means half of our teens are being directly or indirectly affected by this phenomenon. Most of them do it with either someone they trust, a boyfriend or girlfriend, as part of their sexual activity or in place of real sexual activity, but some of them do it just for entertainment. They're not thinking about the consequences that would happen if they send that send button. So now let's take a look at the consequences if they do hit the send button. Now, first of all, keep in mind that image will never really go away once it hits cyberspace. Now, if you look here with me at teens and cell phones, this is just a guesstimate. Let's just say that every single teenager has 5 best friends that they would forward almost any image to. Now, let's say that image was sent from one person to someone that they trusted, a semi-nude or a nude photo. And then each of those people have 5 people that they're going to forward that image to. And you can see here that as each image gets forwarded on to 5 more people, by the time you get to 8 sequences of forwards, there's the potential for 15,627 people to have received that image. And that's via cell phone alone. That does not include if it hits the internet. If it hits the internet, usually on like their Facebook or their MySpace page, that invites cyber predators in. And if a cyber predator tries hard enough, they can find out who is in the photo and even where they live. Now, in an extreme case, a girl named Jessica Logan from Sycamore High School in Cincinnati, she was with a boyfriend and she sent him a nude photo of herself. And when they broke up, he broadcast that nude photo of her. She was so harassed so terribly by friends at school, or so-called friends at school, that she ended up hanging herself. Imagine being the parent of that child knowing that that was something that could be prevented. Not to mention, the entire school was involved and nothing happened. Now, once the school becomes involved, they also have to include the authorities. If the authorities become involved, that can be a possible felony for your teenager. The reason is because there are no laws new enough for phenomenon such as sexting. If they get caught with material on their phone that was forwarded to them, they could be charged with possession of child pornography. If they're caught forwarding the message, they could be charged with dissemination or distribution of child pornography. Now, if they were to be convicted of this, they would have a felony on their record for the rest of their life, as well as they would have to be registered as a sex offender. So imagine having to deal with that for something, a mistake you made when you were only 14. So luckily felonies in the legal system are not too common. Now, since the legal consequences don't usually happen, as a parent or a mentor, it is your job to make sure that they're not participating in that. First, you want to recognize if it seems like they are participating, and if they are, you can usually notice because they seem to be texting way more than usual, they're more protective of their phone now, things of that nature. If that's the case, open up the lines of communication. Let them know that you know what sexting is, because you probably remember being a teenager and thinking your parents don't know what you're doing. But yeah, you do. So just let them know that you know what's going on. Tell them the consequences of participating in it, and then tell them that they need to be appropriate. And then, of course, if they've already done it, you have to do damage control, which obviously take away their phones, but also you have to go ahead and do extra damage control and call the parents of the people they forwarded the image to and have them delete it, and try to delete the image out of cyberspace as much as you can. So today I've discussed with you what it is, what the kids can do, and then as well as damage control and prevention of it. But more importantly, let's remember what it was like to be a teenager. You probably did things you regretted as well. So just with a little bit of knowledge and understanding of what cyberspace is really like, let's teach our young people how to navigate cyberspace without a crash landing.